Hiya, I'm Gory Guttersnipe. This is the very first episode of the Guttersnipe Podcast. My guest this week is an artist, a musician, a smasher of guitars, and general sort of upfucker of stages all around the world. His name is Nikki Misery, and he plays in a band called New Year's Day. They're from California, which is an American place where American people live and do things. From dominating the main stage at the Vans Warped Tour, collaborating with Chris Motionless, playing Rhea Ripley's intro live at WrestleMania, to touring with the likes of Marilyn Manson, Escape the Fate, Hailstorm, New Year's Day have done a lot of very, very cool shit. Most recent on the list of very cool shit that they've done is the release of their new single, Hurts Like Hell. And this is what it sounds like, a little bit of it now. So, before we get into the chat, I just want to send a huge shout out to the sponsor of this video. There's no one. It's just you and me, and my producer Bexy. So please do hit us up on Patreon and buy our merch, which you can find on our social media and whatnot. We'll put the links below. And yeah, do keep in mind that this is the very first of this type of video that I've ever made. So I might be a little bit scatterbrained here and there. You know, might trip over my words a bit, but just bear with me. It's the first one. I'm not a professional. Yet. Also, please do not forget to smash a like and smash a subscribe and drop a comment in the comment section below. It really helps the channel grow. Wrong time for a rhyme. Anyway, without any further ado, here is the conversation that I had with that Nikki Misery fella. Cheers. Nikki Misery, welcome to the show, man.
Mr. Guttersnipe, thanks for having me.
Yeah, cheers, dude. This is number one. This is the first of the podcast. So there's some serious cherry poppery going on right now, and I really appreciate you doing that for me.
I got all the needles and swords ready to pop all them cherries like little balloons.
Certainly, man. Certainly.
I even came prepared too.
Yeah. Hey, look at that, man. Nice one. All the way in. Where are you exactly?
I gotta come prepared. Huh?
Yeah. Where are you exactly?
So I'm in Orange County, California, Southern California. Yeah. I'm like right around the corner from Disneyland.
Okay. Wicked.
Like Ash lives down the street, and the best way she describes is like you can pretty much throw a rock and hit Disneyland.
Yeah. Nice,
so
man.
That's where we at.
Yeah, that's prime location, you know? That's top class.
It was awesome, especially like growing up, like when I first started getting into music, that's when like the whole ska scene blew up.
Yeah.
And like, you know, punk at that time and it grew up, and like Orange County was such a melting pot for music and the scene. And
yeah, no, absolutely.
That's pretty much how I started my journey here.
Yeah, no, it's prime location. What you drinking out of that fantastic mug there, man?
Oddly enough, just coffee.
Just coffee.
Sleep's been rough lately, so I'm getting myself a good kick in the old butt.
I keep forgetting every time we talk. I forget that it's the time difference. It's like 11:30 in the morning there now.
Yeah. Which is still not too early to have a drink.
Well, yeah. Well, I'm glad. I'm glad to hear it, man.
Yeah.
I have a fine lager. It is a Carling Black Label for anyone watching. It is the people's beer, and it's cheap. So
I do love like traveling over like to Europe and stuff like that to have Carling.
Yeah. And
I heard like I guess that's the cheap stuff over there, but over there it just tastes damn good.
It is really good, man. It is really it's yeah, it lives up to the hype, I think.
Yeah.
As a concept.
Yeah.
So you've just gotten back from a hell of a tour, and there was a lot of sort of beastly muck and umska that went into it all, and I'd love to hear the tales, man. Yeah,
absolutely. So like the past couple of months we've been preparing for tour. Like Brandon and Jeremy, the two brothers, they came back into the band. Brandon on bass, Jeremy Valentine on lead guitar. And just like the vibe has been amazing. Like
Yeah.
everyone's like morale's been like at this all-time high. You know, everyone's just working on like the show, the music to get this performance out. And we worked our asses off. And we finally got a bus. We put down on it like a brand new bus, like before COVID went down. But you know, we still had our down payment. The guy said we're good.
Yeah.
Like I said, brand new bus. We're like, oh my God, we're gonna be big boys today. You know, like we're going back out with Hailstorm, who plays these enormous arenas and giant theaters.
Yeah.
It's like let's look the part. So you know, we get out to North Carolina. We have this amazing like dress rehearsal out there. Like one last practice. It was a big old party. You know, we just drank and had a great time. Everything was perfect. And then around 2 a.m., the bus comes, and it's not exactly what we ordered. This thing honestly looks like it was an extra out of like Escape from LA. Like it's been in the background of The Walking Dead for the past like 20 years. Like this thing was a shit show. The windows, you could barely look out of them, inside them. The whole thing just smelled like no running water. Electricity didn't work. Like the driver's lights, he had no lights. So like he had no idea how fast he was going, how much gas was left, nothing.
Yeah.
When we called the owner, he called us like a diva band for complaining that it wasn't clean.
Yeah.
We're like, bro, are you serious? He's like, we got
absolute
1,000
prima
other bands
donnas.
that's ready to pick that up. If you guys don't want it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Us, you know? And so we kind of got like a little threat, like, okay, fine. Like we don't really have any other options. We have like tour starts tomorrow. Like we have to go. So like, okay, fine. We get in the bus. Like I fall asleep right away from a wonderful night of competitive drinking. I'm like, fuck it. You know, we're just going to deal with it. Let's do the damn thing. We've done worse.
Yeah.
And I wake up, and I guess this bus only lasted 1 hour before completely breaking down on us. I wake up to this visual of the tow truck pulling us out, and the bus was done then. Like we started checking everything, like taking all these pictures. The battery was powered by jumper cables.
Yeah.
Like this thing was a living death trap.
Yeah.
And
a lot of
turned out
character,
nobody
though.
else. Yeah,
Sounds like
to say the least.
Yeah.
As much character as like a transient out of downtown LA.
Absolutely.
You know,
yeah.
just messed up, no teeth. That's
lots of
pretty much
stories,
what the bus
just
was.
not ones you want to hear. You know.
Yeah, exactly. And stories that you would find on like Skinamax, like you know, after 9 p.m. on the blurry channels.
Certainly.
And the bus lasted an hour. Thankfully, and we decided like, fuck this guy. Oh, not even to mention. So the driver was like, hey, that's really messed up. He gave you this bus. I'm going to continue to drive you. We're like, cool. Somehow we get bandwagon. They had one bandwagon like bus at their location. Like, don't worry, we got you guys. Like bandwagon. Yeah. Yeah. So bandwagon there, it's not quite a bus, but it's, you know, it's a wonderful like giant RV kind of like box truck kind of thing.
Nice.
You got like 8 bunks in there, you know, like it's perfect.
Yeah.
You know, I guess like Icarus, we just tried to fly a little too high, and boy, we fell.
Yeah.
But so anyway, so like the bus driver, you know, agreed to drive us for the rest of the tour. We're like, that's so awesome, man. Thank you. We got him a hotel so he can sleep because the bus is going to get here like late night, early morning.
Yeah.
So we need him rested. We go out, we celebrate with a nice meal, finally get like a good night rest. We wake up to the bus driver text and go, hey guys, I took your gear. I'm traveling to Charlotte. We're like, what?
Yeah.
Like, dude, you're supposed to be sleeping. Nobody said anything about you taking it.
Yeah.
So we had to get like police involved, like
you got robbed.
Law enforcement of all like North Carolina.
Yeah.
And they set up this whole meet where we go pick this shit up, and you know, so we don't bash this guy's face in.
Yeah, certainly.
Yeah.
Wild.
But anyway, somehow it worked out. We got this other driver, and he turned out to be a nightmare at the fire because he was threatening to quit every day. We're like, dude.
Yeah.
But somehow, like the band, the crew, we all had like such high morale. Like nothing brought us down.
Yeah, this is the thing, man.
And we kind of just used all that insanity and took it out on the stage.
Nice.
And sometimes my heart.
Yeah. This is what you're quite famous for. I saw. I don't know if I read it or if I watched it, but there was some interview, and there was a song that you played where you just would fuck your guitar up like to death. And and I was expecting, I don't know what the interviewer said, but it was essentially, it came to the point we had to stop playing the song. I thought that was just so genius. It's like, not like just maybe take it easy. It's like, yeah, we can't play that one no more because guitar's gonna get fucked up. You know, we can't afford to play this song no more.
Yeah. Oddly enough, we brought it back this last tour. I just didn't do that.
Yeah.
It was crazy because we're like Schecter sponsors us, and our guy Scum Love, thank you for everything. He gave us like this prototype Schecter, like 7-string. It looked like a beautiful Les Paul, but you know, because we play 7-string, so it was 7-string. Had this gorgeous, just like, you know, natural wood finish, and I broke it in half during that song. We were playing in New Mexico. And it's this part of Malevolence where we have this break where we used to just like pause, like during this whole part and like not move. And we would all be in like this prayer stance.
Yeah.
And once the song would kick back in, I would take the guitar off, just throw it on the ground, like stomp on it.
Yeah.
You know, and then right when it comes back in, like the guitar's back on, delay set, and like I'm like on my little lead notes.
Nice.
This one I got a little too wild. Like I put it like angled on the drum riser and was kicking it and didn't realize I just smashed the whole neck entirely.
Yeah. But this is what's good about having sponsors, though, is that you do get, you know, there's more in the chamber, you know?
Yeah. I just figured, like, I'm sure they'll give me one. If not, like, I got a backup. I'll just try and be easier on, you know, but I'm just treating it like I'm Bobby Brown to Whitney Houston or something.
No doubt. Sweet reference, man. Yeah. So we met, as you know, in a Tijuana brothel in 2020, you know?
Absolutely.
Hell of a Monday morning. And
to say the least.
Yeah. But so we met on the interwebs during the plague and stuff. And we came on your show and we had a bit of a chat. And we sort of bonded over that concept of missing being on stage, and, you know, more than anything, I think that's all we could really... I mean, that was just at the forefront of every musician's brain at the time. And then, tell us the Rhea... Is it Rhea or Rhea? Rhea Ripley? Rhea Ripley?
I think I say it both every time. Like, I think I change it because I'm not quite sure.
Yeah. Even me.
Or, like, I'll just say it fast, like Rhea Ripley.
Yeah, totally. So, from what I remember... That was your first gig back was playing her like intro at WrestleMania in front of like 50,000 people or whatever it was, and it was just like this unbelievable. But I just remember the contrast between our conversations about I just really want to get back on the stage, and then it was like seeing Nikki at fucking WrestleMania, which is already, you know, just in general just so, you know, larger than life experience. Tell us about that, being the first show back on the stage after the, well, not after the plague, but, you know, after the plague.
Like talk about like the surrealness of it, you know, like the whole time I'm sitting there like pinching myself. Well, actually trying not to pinch myself. Like, let me enjoy this dream.
Yeah.
Especially coming after COVID too. Like when we had our chat, you know, at that time it was still almost like, is this going to happen again? Like, should we move on to something else? Like
Absolutely.
I got no other skills in the world.
Yeah. That was terrifying, that concept. Having dedicated your life to this one thing, and then like maybe that won't exist anymore, you know, like maybe that's not even gonna be a thing that bizarre. I was like, I can't work on a railroad, you know.
It was a bit of mental trauma that I don't think most people will get unless like you're in this, like you're not gonna understand what that's like.
Yeah.
You know, like other people had jobs and they eventually got to go back to, and us, we're like, shit, dude, everything I work for, like I can't.
Absolutely.
You know, everyone's afraid of everybody.
Yeah.
But anyway, like to fast forward, when we found out that that's what we got to do would be WrestleMania, you know, fly out there. And it's such an insane experience, you know, and they like the entire crew, like, you know, the setting up crew and like the wrestlers themselves.
Yeah.
Everybody treated us like we were like these giant stars. And we're like, oh my God, wait, you're the star. Like, the dude Titus, who was like us, one of the hosts, you know, we were walking backstage like, hey guys, how you doing? Thank you guys for coming. You guys want a picture? We're like, hell yeah. He's like, hold on one sec. He goes in the other room. We're like, wow, this is crazy. He comes out with Hulk Hogan, and we're just like, no way, like Hulk shakes our hand, and it's like
Yeah.
this huge hand shaking my pinky. It was like a cartoon. I think I was like jumping up and down.
Absolutely.
But they were so
Brother.
cool, so nice.
That's wild.
And it's funny, like when I've watched the WrestleMania performance, after the fact, and I had no idea the entire time that all that pyro was happening. Like you're just so in this one world, and like so, I guess, like just drunk on how insane this experience was.
I can.
You almost like didn't even notice what was going on.
Yeah, no, it looked. That was the thing that like blew my mind, and it just made Bexy and I were watching it, and we were like, "This is just the coolest first gig back." Like, because like again, it gave me faith in the fact that we might like play a club again. Do you know what I mean? Because I was like, if that's occurring there, even though it's many kilometers away, I was like, if that's happening, well, we still can't buy cigarettes, but that can happen. Then I'm sure there'll be a sort of there'll be some kind of migration of freedom, I guess, in a way. But yeah, it was it gave us a lot of hope and a lot of faith in sort of being alive.
I'm glad. Yeah, it was seriously one of the gnarliest, weirdest, crazy experiences. Because I mean, when you used to playing like there's people all in front of you, they're rocking out. But these people are here to watch, people wrestle.
Yeah.
And here you are giving them like a rock show at the same time.
No, absolutely, man. Looked surreal. Must have been entirely so.
It definitely is. Even like thinking about it, I'm like, wait, I did do that. Yeah. And then it's even funny now because like right now we have like, it's American football season. And so every time like when I see the Bucks play, I'm like, oh, I played there.
Yeah. Yeah. Wild.
I was telling my mom, like, Mom, I played there.
Yeah. Do you ever get into the old football? American football. That's what we call it.
Younger,
we call it American football because football is football.
Yeah.
And then American football is American football.
Yeah, it's totally different.
Yeah.
But nowadays I absolutely am. It's a good reason to go out, have some beers, have some chicken wings, and scream obscenities at a television.
Do you know what, man? I'm so with you on that. I think when I was growing up, I think you've got like this sort of, it's almost like a tribalism thing about like the sporty folks and then the like, alternative folks, and you sort of join the gang, and then later on in life, it's almost like you find a mate who's really into it, and then through that mate, you're like, yeah, whatever, I'll just watch a football match, and then you're fucking in it. You know what I mean? From then on, and exactly that. It's like it becomes the sort of sense of occasion of it. I love a good football game in a pub, like you sort of get into the spirit of it. I've never seen one live, but I don't know. Can you drink? Probably. You can, but
absolutely.
I don't know. If you can drink, then it's probably great. I mean, when you go and watch them live.
Yeah, especially when you go live, like the best part is just having drinks, and then instead of yelling at the TV, you're actually yelling at them.
Absolutely, yeah. And I think that thing,
it's all
man,
the best things.
That thing about, and it's like just psychologically, the thing of masses sort of rooting, it's like, it's church, dude. It's like, same as a rock show, same as anything. It's like there's this sense of community and like, it's very, very powerful stuff. The psychology behind it to me is fucking interesting.
It really is.
Yeah.
Especially too because it's true. Like it is a sense of community. At the same time, it's a big old division because you see someone wearing different colors.
Oh,
it's almost
certainly.
gang-like.
Yeah. No, totally. But that's the other thing about the human condition is that thing that like kind of. But see, in sports, it's good natured. In politics, it's very evil and it's very bad at the moment. The divisive nature of things. I'm one of those sort of what people on either side would call a lazy centrist, which in my mind just means like a rational thinker. That goes, oh, some things I'm a little bit and some things I'm a little bit But as soon as you join the gang, then you're like, I don't know. I think I think you should be able to have abortions if you want them, and I think you should be able to do it with like an AR-15 in your hands if you want to as well. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's where I stand.
Like AR-15s are pretty fun,
I've heard. Yeah. I don't know.
I guess because like we love shooting stuff, like
Yeah.
American. I love my fireworks. I love beer. I
Yeah.
love explosions. I love action movies, fast cars.
Yeah.
And it was funny because like past couple months, well, not past couple months, probably a little bit longer, but some of our buddies from UK came out. Like it took my buddy Sean from Creeper and actually our UK TM. And whenever they come out here, like we'll take them shooting, like you want to go do some American shit. Like we'll go shooting, and then we'll go eat some barbecue after, and drink whiskey. And it's just so funny, like to watch them shoot and turn around, just like, oh yeah, like you feel that in your heart. That's a chest hair growing.
Yeah, I'm with you. I've never fired a gun. I would like to. I really would. Yeah. So your New Year's Day, when you joined. Tell us the thing. Tell us how you became part of that gang.
Yeah. So I lived up in LA and I was working a bunch of jobs. And I actually was one of the founding members of this band Stitched Apart. That's actually on our same label. So I remember Mixie, the singer of that band. I came home from like working all day and night, and she's like, "Let's go to Bar Sinister," which is like this little gothy fetish club in Hollywood.
Yes. I think I followed their Instagram page. It looks like a vibe.
Yeah, it's a fun spot. And like the little bar right there is the last place that the Black Dahlia was before she got the famous smile. Yeah. But anyways, so Mixie was like, "Oh, let's go over here. They have this label, which was a Hollywood Waste, which was really popular at the time." It's like, we want to go schmooze with them and Century Media. Yeah. And I really didn't want to go. And, she finally talked me into it. That's what you got to do. You got to go schmooze with these people. I'm like, all right, you're fucking right. But in protest, I kind of dressed like almost like Pee Wee Herman, if you would mix him and like a 1970s prom. Yeah. I had these big, thick glasses with, no lenses, this ruffled shirt, this pinstripe kind of like really 70s tux, and then makeup, full makeup. I even had my hair like parted in the middle and really flat. And so I go there and I'm really hating life. I'm just having drinks and I'm kind of spacing out. And through like this crowd of goths, I see that this girl come out. She's wearing all white. And she just comes up and points at me. She's like, "You look like someone I need to know." I was like, "Oh, hi, yeah. I'm Nikki." She's like, "I'm Ash. I sing in New Year's Day." I was like, "I've never heard of it, but that's cool." And she's asking me what my getup was. I was like, "Oh, I didn't want to come here, so I'm in revolt." And she's like, "Oh my God, me too. Like, I didn't want to come here for this thing. I wore all white in protest." We're like, "Oh shit." Yeah. So I met like, the rest of what was at that time New Year's Day. Who was all there because they were on the Hollywood Waste album. Then I went home. I looked them up. I was like, "Holy shit, this is cool." They just came out with a Mechanical Heart, which was like this little concept EP. Yeah. That like theatrical sounding. When I saw their videos, it was very I don't want to say like Alice Cooper-y, but like that's kind of what it reminded me of. Like, it was like a horror show kind of thing. And I was so into that. And we used to go see each other play for a bit. And I remember Ash telling me that one of the owners of the label was like, "You need that guy in your band," because the way I play has always been the way I play. I've never been a shredder. So how else am I going to be, remembered?
Emoting, man. Like just fucking shit up.
I just want to be like an explosion of just nihilistic, chaotic energy. Yeah. And so eventually one of their guitar players left. She asked if I wanted to join. And I was like, "Oh my God, yes, please." Yeah. And then slowly I started bringing like my makeup into it and more. And then it started to get like this undeady Motley Crue look, which I loved.
I've got this meme in my head. I've never made it because I don't have the time to sit and make a meme. But it's basically like a sort of, say 1989 and a sort of gossed up teenager being like, we want free speech and freedom of expression, and then someone in their like 60s or 70s being like, we can't have freedom of speech, and then cut to 2022 and it's the other way round, and it's gossed up teenagers saying, "That's rude. You used a bad word," And then it's people in their 60s and 70s, all of the like sort of the old guard of like the punk movement and stuff being like, oh dear, it's gone full circle, man. It's quite strange.
I 100% agree with you, and I firmly believe we need a new punk rock. Because if you think like old punk rock, like I don't think that would survive nowadays.
No, certainly.
Because I mean, you had like a lot of punks that were wearing swastikas.
Yeah.
Half the kids would be so offended by that.
Absolutely. Whereas that was like a statement to take away the sort of power of the thing. It's like a concept, like an artistic concept. And now that's like no. Very strict, very fucking Einstein rules, like, you know. And it's like, man, that's so bizarre. How has it gone so full circle? You know,
it's insanely full circle.
Yeah, it's very interesting, man. I think it's one of the most interesting things about this time that we live in is that thing of like, you know, the extreme political correctness. And it's like, that's not to say like, you know, people shouldn't like use racial slurs and stuff like that. It's like, of course not. They should never have done that. That's totally it's a different sort of ballpark. But just sort of general microaggressions and stuff like that. It's like even the word microaggression to me, it makes me microaggressive.
I was just about to say that.
Like it's so strange, man. I think I've put it down to, in my mind, when there's no more hungry kids, like no more hungry kids on the planet, and just basically everyone's cool and everyone's got their just basic human rights, then we can start nitpicking sort of the behaviors of other human beings. But not even then, really. But let's have no more hungry kids, and then start raging at somebody because they wore a bindi or something, or like a kimono, and then therefore it's cultural appropriation. And it's like, you know, I had this one as well, which is just as a thought, like music and food, and none of these things get that cultural appropriation label. You know, like the Beatles never got like, oh, you cultural appropriating motherfuckers using sitars, you bastards.
Yeah.
You know, oh, no one ever walked up to like an apartment and was like, are you cooking a curry? Because I'll tell you what, you Caucasian, that's not for you to be cooking. But with fashion, with like outfits and stuff, it seems to be that cultural appropriation, and cultures are so, you know, there's so many aspects. But it's like clothing, oh dear, you've worn a kimono to your matric dance or your, you know, prom or whatever. Your prom night dress is, I mean, my culture is not your prom night dress or whatever, but it's also, it's not necessarily, in my experience, I don't know, it doesn't seem to be the people that are being appropriated that are offended. It seems to be sort of middle-class white kids.
Yeah,
with the internet.
Cultural appropriation just seems to be a new way to try to get rid of somebody you don't like.
Yeah,
because none of that stuff makes sense. Like, are you really supposed to like historically research every article of clothing you wear?
Yeah.
I remember like Ash was getting shit because she had dreads one time, and she's like, "You're culturally appropriate." I'm like, "Why aren't you? Are you guys not going after like Rob Zombie or like Jonathan Davis or like half the homeless population? They're all dreaded up.
Absolutely.
Probably not by their own personal choice, but are they
so
culturally appropriating?"
Yeah. Fucking those homeless people with their matted hair, you know, totally just, with their, man. That to me is one of the, it's one of the most bizarre things that is occurring in this very bizarre time. Just culturally, it's very bizarre. Everything's fucking pretty. Yeah. Everything's kind of weird, man. But
it's like, should we not take influence? Like,
this is the
by
thing, man.
saying
like,
that, do you want us to be segregated all the time? Is that what like?
That to
that's
me
what that sounds like.
That to me is exactly the thing. It's like no. Everyone must stay in their boxes. And it's like, whoa, hold up.
Yeah.
But it's getting to that sort of level of extremes. Yeah.
It's getting wacky. I remember I even like, I almost got into it with somebody one time because, you know, I'm a huge Elvis fan. And someone goes like, Elvis stole black music. He shouldn't get, I'm like, is stealing or influence or like, can you not cover a song anymore? Like, should white people only make music made by white people,
Yeah.
and like is that how it should be? Like if I'm half brown or if I'm half Colombian and half white, like can
Yeah.
I only play a certain kind of rock
Yeah.
and Spanish music? Like I can't play anything else?
That's where it's headed, man. It's yeah, it's extremely worrying. I think that whole sort of movement. I guess I don't, and again, I don't even. While I don't like the extremist things on either side, like I also don't like you know, putting everything politically correct under a umbrella, because this is the thing, that not everything is under an umbrella. So sometimes people can just be dickheads and
Yeah.
and sort of overly offended by shit, but I wouldn't want to put other people who are just sort of like, sort of in a maybe slightly sensitive place under the same umbrella as those people. But basically that whole culture of social justice warrior and policing the people around you, and not even around you, trying to police some stranger on the internet, like some dude from South Carolina who works on a building site made a Facebook status, and then some like goth kid in Cape Town decides that it is their God-given mission to say something about that person's something. And it's like, if you live your whole life with that attitude, you're not gonna get anything done, because there's lots of humans. We just done 8 billion, right? This is the new news. Yeah. You can't do that. And also, not everyone needs to be your friend. This is the way I really see it. It's like, there's a reason that you go to bars and there's those people sitting over there and there's those people sitting over there, and then you're over here. Maybe you know some of those people, you don't know those people. It would be so bizarre to walk up to one of the tables of people that you don't know and then wait for them to just sort of listen, and then... No, actually, what you just said is... that's kind of what social media gives people the ability to do. Which again, can be a good thing, can be a bad thing, but for the most part, I just think it causes mental illness. A kind of a sort of almost like a just bullying, I guess, is the way I see it. Like where people
it's almost like an entitled mental illness.
Absolutely, man. Yeah, it's I don't know, but again, it also makes me feel like such a spectator of the world, which I think I quite like that thing. I feel so disconnected, and then I feel like I hang out with people who are all very disconnected from what's occurring in the thing. Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, absolutely.
It's like we're not on either side of that thing, like on the extremist ends of the thing. But who really? Yeah, I don't know. I think extremism in any form is really, really bad. And I think when people take their beliefs to like a sort of religious level, like people don't blow themselves up in the name of religion because they're trying to be bad guys. They're doing it because they think they are just, and they think they're so just and righteous and correct that's what they're doing, And I feel like activists are now sort of getting to almost that level of like, it's a religion, this kind of political correct thing where you must police everybody else's fucking thoughts, to the point that I won't be surprised if in the next like 10 years someone goes and blows themselves up in the name of some cause that is not necessarily religious, but they are now. I think this is the thing. I think and it doesn't help fucking anyone, man. That just doesn't. Extremism never solves any problems, and it doesn't do anything. Chatting about stuff does, and arguing about stuff does. That's very good. We can go into situations and come out with like a lot more knowledge. I dig that. Like I've had lots of conversations with very bigoted people, but I just want to hear what they, Sometimes it turns into fisticuffs in bars and stuff. That's fine. Not so much anymore, but when I was younger.
That happens.
But because I think when I was younger, I used to be like a little bit too far on the I'm trying to be offensive and I look really weird. What, did you just look at me funny? You know?
Yeah. Why are you looking at me?
Yeah, why are you looking at me? Is it because of my like fantastic leopard print tights or my hair that I've done? Or you know what I mean? Like all of these things that I've done designed to get attention negatively. How dare you, you know? And now it's like a thing of, I guess you've got to be able to sort of hear other people's opinions, even if you disagree with them, and kind of move,
and that's
through
the thing.
that.
You have to understand disagreement. Like, just because you talk to somebody and you make your points doesn't mean you're going to change their mind. And you got to be okay with that. And that's what I don't think a lot of people get. And what really trips me out, too, is like per se, if you think of like rock and roll and like, because I remember when I got into rock and roll, what really got me about like certain artists, like when you think of like Iggy Pop or like Johnny Thunders, or even like Gigi Allen or like, you know, Lemmy, like I saw these guys, I'm like, these guys are fucking badasses.
Yeah.
These guys don't give a fuck. Like they'll go, like you say something wrong, they'll fucking knock you in the face with their guitar, whatever they have. And I'm kind of wondering, like, who are these, like, what is this generation? Who are they going to look up to? And like, who's like their badass? And then at the same time too, because like, you know, everything, especially here in America, is so politicized left and right. And I'm on neither. I'm just an observationist as well. But the left has such a hold on everything. Yeah. And it's weird to see a lot of musicians, a lot of punk kids, a lot of metal people just constantly pushing left and democratic policies. Yeah. Which is very strange, because I thought you guys were all anti-government, but why are you pushing government policies? Yeah. And the worst one that really got me was when everything shut down, you would just constantly hear these people, in a sense, say, guys, just do what the government tells you so they'll let us go back and do our things again. Yeah. And I'm kind of like, fuck the fuck out of you. Yeah. You know,
no,
like,
I'm with you.
Why are you pushing their agenda? All of a sudden, is it just like, I couldn't figure it out.
No, I'm with you.
Like you guys should be the first people to be like, fuck this. This is weird. You know?
Yeah, no, I'm with you. To be honest, when all this shit, when all the plaguey stuff started kicking off, I think I was I was in a very strange place, because I didn't really feel, I had this sort of general sense of, I guess, like existential dread, right? And I didn't really know what sort of where to stand on the things. There were some rules and stuff in the beginning that I thought, like, this makes a lot of sense, you know? Like, let's just not go to bars and stuff like that. I was on it, man. I was on that thing.
I was with you.
It's like, let's take it easy. It's when it got, I mean, like, I've seen a lot of stuff from the States that was also very similar, but when I saw people getting like, manhandled by the police because they were out just past like jogging time in the morning, like you could jog from like 5 until 7 or something, and then there was this footage of this woman being like dragged into a police van, because she was out like, maybe 15 minutes after that or something, and I'm like, you're jogging. That's a timing error. You know what I mean? Like, that's not her fucking fault. She's just, I'm on my way home, officer, but like dragged it. And when I saw that, it changed my whole sort of attitude about the thing. I think the existential dread changed from like, oh dear, the plague, to like, oh dear, fucking draconian. Like, this is some scary power play shit. And that was the thing that like kind of changed my mind after a couple of months of it. I think at first I was very much on the like, guys, let's follow the rules and do the thing. But once it started looking like, because I don't have much faith in the governments of the world. I think they're all pretty fucked, and I don't think that they have the best interests at heart of the people. I think that it's all, it's power stuff, it's money stuff, it's power stuff, it's control stuff. But not, I mean,
it's
not
like if you didn't see it before, you got to see it now.
Yeah, absolutely. And I don't want to sound too much like a podcast host. But I realized as I was saying that, I was like, that's the most podcasty, hosty thing that anyone has ever said. But
it's true that when things happen, when plaguey things happen, a lot of things was being pushed on you, like, and real fast too, real fast and real heavy. And the fact that like more people didn't be like, wait, why is this happening so hard right now?
Yeah.
Why is it if I don't support this, I'm racist? That has nothing to do with racism. You know, I just do I have time to look it up? It's like, no,
absolutely.
Support us, racist. I'm like, this is getting weird now.
Yeah, that's the thing, man. It's all, fucking politics. But so we basically get in South Africa, we obviously have, like, as far as just our general everything is pretty. We basically live in little America in our minds as the kind of, you know, middle class. So not even, like, I guess, like everyone, culturally and whatnot, that's where we get it. People watch CNN here, you know, that's what I mean, I guess. It's like, that's where people get their news from. I used to watch, it's not your fault, man. It's not your fault. I remember watching CNN actually like a couple of years ago and just thinking, it's the news show, you know? And then the Fox News ones are like, oh, it's the baddies, you know? Yeah. And then I realized that they're both the baddies. You know, I sort of they're
both baddies.
I grew into that they're both the baddies. It's just like, you know, two sides of the same fucking coin. And whoever's really, the way I see it, whoever's on top of that shit is just like, give them two sides, because then they'll do this, and we'll just do this. You know, let them, you know what I mean. But when I think it was when Biden got elected, I was watching all the celebrations in the streets, like with the masks on and stuff, and all the CNN reporters being like, we're witnessing social distancing, and everyone's being very, and I was just like, oh, you're fucking lying.
Yeah.
It's like, because had he not won, it would have been, look at all these people gathered in groups. Do you know what I mean? It was like, it's like, wow, like the narrative was just so blatant. For the first time, I think that was the first time, because I don't really care. Again, like, this is to be super fair. I'm one of those people who kind of, I more live in my head and live in music and films and stuff, and I feel
I'm with you on that.
Occasionally I need to, like, you know, check in on the world and just make sure everybody all right, cool. I'm gonna as much as we can. Yeah, exactly. But that was a big realization of, like, just I don't know what the word is, but that same different sides, same coin, different coin, same sides, whatever, you know, the thing. I was just like, goodness gracious, man, you're just spinning it. It's all just spin. And, like, oh, you're on this side, so you spin it that way. You're on that side, you spin it that way. And, like, it became hilarious. And then watching it was like watching whatever his name is, the main CNN dude. Oh, there's a couple of main ones. But anyway, I was just watching him speak, and I was like, oh, fuck, this is hilarious. This is like you are just an SNL skit. Like,
yeah,
you know,
it's great, because I used to be like that too. And then when everything shut down, like, I started watching all the news because I wanted, like, I was so intrigued with what was going on. You know, like, especially us in America, like, we've never seen anything on this level before. So it's like really interesting to see, you know. Yeah. And then you start watching, like, what CNN says, like, oh my God, you know, he said all this racist stuff, all this, and then you watch the whole thing. It's like, wait, none of that was what they said. And you watch what Fox says, like, wait, but that's not what.
Absolutely.
What y'all both shit me, you know? I guess, like, Denzel Washington said it best. It's like, if you watch the news, you're misinformed. If you don't watch the news, you're uninformed.
Yeah, this is the thing.
Like, what can you do?
Yeah, watch Joe Rogan.
Yeah, watch Joe Rogan.
That's another
Poor
interesting.
Neil Diamond.
Yeah,
poor Neil Diamond tried to get his shit off, and
I know, no, I that was, you know, Neil, you're not gonna win this battle, man.
No, especially from the dude keep on rocking in the free world, trying to silence somebody. That was just so weird.
Yeah, the Joe Rogan thing is an interesting one as well, man, because I think he has been given this, like, this sort of pedestal that I don't think he wants it. I don't think he cares about it. I think he literally just cares about what he wants to talk about when he wants to talk about it. But he's been given this like almost like as a political enemy of, you know, sort of far left thinkers. Like as if he, and I'm like, the dude speaks to the Black Keys for 3 hours. No one else does that. I want to hear what the Black Keys have to say for 3 hours. You know, he speaks to Louis Theroux for 2 hours. He speaks to Russell Brand for, and I'm like, I want to hear those conversations. He's very good at having conversations. I don't give a fuck what his political stances on things are anyway. You know what I mean? Like, if you're watching, say, like, you know, just like a Warped Tour kind of 5-minute interview after the gig, and someone's like, so, how was the show? And da-da-da-da. You don't go, hold up. I want to know what that guy's political stance is before I listen to what the band he's talking to has to say. Do you know what I mean? It's like, I don't really care. And in general, I feel like I've watched quite a few Rogan episodes because he speaks to a lot of interesting people. If he had a show like mine, like the Guttersnipe show, where he just sort of talks to the camera, and I don't know that I would necessarily watch him. I don't know if his like charisma and stuff is, you know, in line with the kind of character that I'd like to watch in a show like that. But as far as somebody who has chats with people, he's fucking good at asking questions and sort of, you know, he chimes in with his opinions.
Great conversation.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's what's cool to see too, because even if like two disagreements or like, you know, they're not on the same page, it's civil, it's fine, you know, they could agree to disagree and just call it a day.
Totally.
And like that's what that shit's all about. Like with anything with politics or like discussing that, that's how it should be. Like, cool. Hey, you agree? Best of luck to you.
Absolutely, man. That's the thing. I find so much value in hearing this, like the points of view of people that I like proper disagree with. You know, people I think have like abhorrent, fucking revolting beliefs. I want to hear them. I want to hear what they have to say, man. It's like no one's ever gone after like documentary makers like what's his name? Kamal something. United Shades of America. He's got a great show. Also on CNN. So, but or like, you know, an Anthony Bourdain or a Louis Theroux or whatever. Like Louis Theroux goes and hangs out with the KKK and like, you know, speaks to them and like, you know, in a way, I guess you could say humanizes the people. You know, and so does Kamau, and he's an African American dude. He goes and hangs out with the KKK and talks to them. Yeah. No one ever goes, how dare you give them a platform to those journalists? But they say, how dare you give like, you know, Ben Shapiro a platform, and he's just a silly little man, you know, that comes on Rogan and talks his silly little things, and some of them are fine and some of them are ridiculous, you know. But it's like, it's a bizarre thing that like, how dare you give them a platform? It's like, man, it's interesting shit. It's interesting stuff. I'm like deeply my whole life like obsessed with the Second World War, and I watch documentaries on like the Third Reich and stuff like all the time. I fall asleep to that shit most nights. Even like, you know, I'll like get into bed, take a anti-anxiety pill, and the first thing I hear when my head hits the pillow is like, you know, Poland. 1939, and then I'm like, right, cool, and but that's not because I have like sort of, you know, it's not coming from some kind of dark place. It's just
no, it's such an interesting time too.
Absolutely,
like,
man.
Like that man had a dream and a vision, and unfortunately, almost achieved it. You know, but
it's terrifying. That's the thing, man. It's like it's terrifying. The human condition is like endlessly interesting and endlessly, you know, terrifying and endlessly beautiful and endlessly wonderful and horrible and terrible and amazing and cock and fucking great and shit and all of those things. And I think people, it's good to take that stuff in. I don't think anyone's ever watched an episode of Joe Rogan and gone, oh, the person he was talking to was part of the, you know, alt-right or whatever. And now I am too, you know. I just don't think that's the case. I think if somebody has the attention span and the thing to like, I just don't think people are that easily indoctrinated. I think it's in other channels of sort of bullying and stuff that people get indoctrinated into shit. I don't think it's from like critical thinking.
Yeah, I was gonna say I honestly don't think people actually really know what the alt-right is because they call
Yeah,
that to people they just disagree with
but
now.
that's the thing. Yeah, I'm so with you on that. Yeah, that is actually.
And
Yeah.
and like going back to something you said earlier, like me, I'm a free speech person. I say whatever the fuck you want. I don't
Yeah.
care. I don't care if it hurts, if it's offensive to races, whatever. Like I
Yeah.
don't care. Say what you want because like once you start limiting that,
Absolutely,
then
man.
someone else is going to decide what you get to say. And pretty much all that is just giving more power to a government.
Completely.
And at the same time, too, like we wouldn't have such great Patti Smith songs if we couldn't say certain things,
Yeah. No, I'm with you, man. I'm with you.
And at the same time, too, it's like
that to me is the most important thing. It's the number one thing. And if you look at just human history, freedom of speech is it's the most important thing. I mean, beyond like let's feed the hungry fucking kids, but you've got to be able to say, you got to be able to say that, and you've got to be able to say things that lead to being able to say that, and therefore you have to deal with people saying again, just nasty shit. That's fine. The freedom of speech is the most important thing, I think, on the planet. If you look at countries,
if I call someone a shit fuck, that's probably hate speech. Even though I don't hate them, but I might if I get to know them.
Yeah.
And that too, like shit. What was I gonna say? Brain fart.
Yeah. Fair enough.
But yeah, it's crazy, and especially like because I know a lot of people are concerned about racism and racist.
Yeah.
And like me, I'm like, let them say it. Like, you think someone's actually gonna like listen to them, like, hey, maybe they're right. Maybe all of you are trouble. No, you're gonna listen to them like, what a fucking idiot,
Absolutely,
and nobody's gonna pay any mind to them.
I want to know who's a dickhead. That's an important thing in my life. I want to know who a dickhead is. If you start censoring speech, then you don't know who a dickhead is. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
now
it's
they're all
like
gonna be hiding.
Absolutely. I want it on the sleeve of every person, like just but exactly not like on the sleeve, because that's that's how
World War II thing. They had it on their sleeve.
Yeah. But like you want people to wear themselves on them sleeves of themselves. And you want to know who's who's a dickhead and who's not a dickhead. And if you censor everything, then people will they'll slip through your sense of, I don't know. Yeah, you know what I mean.
Yeah, and that was one of the things why I loved a lot of like the musicians I loved. They said things, and they said it either straight up, they said it artistically or metaphorically, like Joe Biafra would do.
Yeah.
Or you would just be just blatant with it.
No, totally, man. But again,
and you absolutely should be able to.
Yeah.
People want to listen, they'll listen. If they don't, they ain't.
I completely. Oh man, it's such a terrifying thing, especially like, I mean, a big point. I think Nick Cave was talking about this. It's something I've been thinking about for a while. Is like writers and songwriters and musicians but I guess writers in general, TV shows or films, or you can't write a villain anymore, because if you have the thought of like this character, right, then somehow that character is you. Because it's all gone so like fucking, the lines between reality and fiction and stuff is all sort of very blurry, with blurry reality TV and blurry fucking news, and it's all gone quite blurry. But if you write a character who's like a racist, rapist, anti-Semite, like evil, this is the most evil person in the universe. If you write that character, then people will be like, that's you bastard. And that's a terrifying thought. Like this, I mean, how many films, it's everything, that art is like a mirror of like, there are songs about these things that have been like, oh my goodness, this, TikTok not dissing TikTok. It's very good. I need to get on it. But the things that I've seen that people have sent me or that have turned into like Instagram reels or whatever. But someone posted the lyrics or a little clip from Sublime's Date Rape, the song Date Rape, which is about a horrible dickhead dude, and was like, it included it in like a series of other very misogynist sort of lyrics in songs, which if you look for them, you will find them.
Absolutely.
But I was like, listen to the whole fucking song from beginning to end, not just like, because do you know what I mean? Like it blew, like I wanted to strangle the phone. Like it irked me so, Nicholas.
It's like, he gets it at the end, right? Like karma gets him.
Absolutely, man. That's the whole
karma
thing.
Karma gets him by a large inmate.
Yeah. Exactly. And it was like included in this like list of sort of vulgar. And I was like, no, man. Like, that's the death of art, then. And that's the most sacred thing in the world to me. And expression is the most sacred thing in the world to me. And it's like, I never wanted to be an activist, but I'm going to have to, I think we're all going to have to, like, fucking really stand up for art. And be like, I don't want it to be a point of, like, having underground clubs where people go to, like, listen to records that they're not allowed to listen to. Because you know what I mean, like, and that's almost kind of where it is. Like, if you want to watch a Chris Rock stand-up DVD, you're gonna have to like go to this like real Dodge underground joint and be like, because it's just so politically incorrect and so But that's
like every Motley Crue album.
Absolutely, man. Yeah. No, this is the thing.
I'm not gonna be able to hear "Fuck Like a Beast."
Yeah. Fuck like a beast. How dare you? Fuck? We can't say fuck anymore. Yeah, 15 years from now, can you imagine?
Are you comparing humanity to animals?
Good God. Yeah. No, it's a scary. It's a funny thought, but it's a scary thought that it's book burning, man. And if you look at history and you like people watching, and look into the little camera there. Google the concept of book burning, because that's what some of you might be doing in a way when you're sort of demonizing anything that isn't on your everything else, the other, and that's like what the Third Reich was all about, man. And that's scary shit. Doesn't matter. Pol Pot was the same. Like, basically, every evil, horrible dictator that ever existed started by saying, like, you know what? You can't say that.
Yeah.
And, cool, yeah. It's for your own good. It's for your own good. And it's like, I guess they're right. Like, I guess they're right. Like, maybe we shouldn't. And it's like, nah, man, it's not about being a good person. It's like, you want to be a good fucking person. That's more important than... Once being a good person is a law, that's the scary shit. You know what I mean? Like, that's...
Yep. Then you're going to have to define good.
Yeah, exactly.
I even get so sick of, like, even seeing online, like, toxic positivity. Instead of saying this, say this. I'm like, instead of telling me what the fuck to say, why don't you mind your own goddamn business?
Yeah.
Grow up.
I've seen so many of those. Instead of saying this, say this. I'm like, who the fuck are you? Like, where have you come from? But also,
when all of a sudden are you like the officer of morality?
Yeah, absolutely.
And this thing too, like I remember we played a show in New York one time, and Ash and we went to this bar. And, I'm still like in like runoff makeup. Hair's usual hair, just a mess.
Yeah.
Like I'm wearing like these cut off like booty shirts with like these tights on. And when I walk by and this guy goes, "Look at this faggot," And I laugh it off, like I don't give a shit. And I couldn't imagine being so upset by it that I'm gonna go film a video of me crying, talking about it, and then posting it on the internet.
Yeah.
Like what I would rather do is either tell that guy to fuck off or break a bottle on his head.
No, totally, man. Totally. This is the thing. Life's rich tapestry needs to be a rich fucking tapestry. And you can't it's basically, this is good. I've just had a good one, Nikki. our immune systems when we're kids, right? Like, we need to eat fucking sand and shit, right? We need it. We need it so that our immune systems can deal with real shit. And that is the thing about this sort of like overly sensitive, kind of like cancel-y thing of like, that joke offended me and therefore that person is evil. It's the same. We need stuff to offend us. We need to learn how to deal with that and grow the fuck up and move on. Deal with it. Being offended as a trait to be leaned into as a negative thing that's absolute nonsense, man. It's the same as germs. Yeah. Like, we need to build up our immune system. Fucking hell, that is really good, dude.
Yeah, that's great. That was perfect, because once you started saying, it's like, I know exactly where you're going. I love it. Yeah. It's like you got to have assholes, because you got to get the shit out.
100%, man. That's golden. Yeah, man. Yeah, man. So, okay, before I don't know what it's 11. Cool. It's been a while. Before we go and live our lives in the world outside of this little internet square. And also, there are going to be people who have watched this whole internet square until now. And if you have, cheers. Cheers to you.
Salud.
Yeah. Well played. You've listened to me and Nikki Misery, the internet. I've had mouth. I've only had 3 pints. I shouldn't be slurring. The international man of misery.
I like that one.
This is all James Bondy, you know.
That was good.
I don't even like James Bond, but I like that one though.
That was great. I was with it.
Yeah, cool. So I just wanted to talk about music again, because we do that. we do that music thing.
We do make sounds.
Yeah. What was the band? The thing that bit you, and like, you know, changed your life forever, for good or for bad, but like, you know, made you who you are today, in the realm of this is rock and roll, and this is like what I'm gonna do.
Oddly enough, so I was just a little young Nicholas Miserable at the time.
Yeah.
About the size of my head.
Yeah.
And I came home from school and I wanted to watch my after school cartoons, you know, and that's all I was looking forward to. School sucks. I hated it. You know, I was like 10, 13, whatever at the time. And I get home and I turn on the TV and it was at the time of the LA riots.
Yeah.
So that was on every news channel, but I was too young to really understand what was going on.
Yeah.
And so I'm going through every channel. I'm like, God, stupid, why? God, news, every channel. And then I started hitting the cable channels. And then all of a sudden I see this black and white picture and I just see these Liberty spikes. And it's, I turned on, it was MTV and it was Rancid's Nihilism music video.
Yeah. And
I was so enthralled with how these people looked. Like they look, I've never seen anything like it before. You know, I've never seen what a punk rocker looked like, but they look so cool. And the music was fast. I'm like, what is this? You know, and I fell in love right away and I was so blown away. And the next music video was Faith No More's Epic.
Yeah.
Just Mike Patton getting wild, you know.
Yeah.
And that whole scene, you know, the eyeball in the hand and like him playing the piano with the dead fish. And like, it was such a kick-ass song. And from then on, I was like, rock and roll is my thing now.
Yeah.
This is what I will do forever.
Nice.
And I've never looked back. I've since then, it's always been trying to find new rock bands, you know, and like the way I would find it, I would go to a record store at the time, like, you know, CDs, and I would look to see what the band looked like. Yeah. And if they looked absolutely awesome and they looked super cool, I would just buy it without even hearing anything.
I miss that, man. I miss that thing of the record store, like, you know, it was like a spiritual, weird, it's like a weird experience, but I missed that thing of like going in and physically sort of, because without the internet and without the thing, also like with sort of CDRs that you got from friends and stuff with like, you know, the name written with like a, you know, permanent marker. I didn't know what the Pixies looked like for the first like 7 years that I listened to the Pixies. You know what I mean? I just had this image in my mind of this band. Like I knew what Nirvana looked like because they were Nirvana, and like, you know, somehow you knew these things as as a child, but there was a lot that like I didn't know. And then you would find the things that you like recognize, and you would meet people that were also in the metal section, you know, like or in the alternative section. You'd be like, hey. And they'd be like, hey. Like, I guess we're fucking friends forever now because we've met in a look and listen was the like I guess like what Tower Records used to be, like a big chain record store thing, and you'd be like, right, Tribe, sup, yeah. But yeah, dude, I want to say just massive cheers for coming on and did I just shocker? I just shocked hard. Yeah.
I do that all the time. I don't even mean to. I used to hate it.
Yeah.
And I catch myself doing it. I'm like, what are you doing?
Yeah. Shaka, motherfucker.
Yeah. Hang loose, man. Rah.
Yeah, dude. But yeah, cheers so much for spending the time. It's been really cool to catch up, and it's been really cool to discuss these things and solve all of the world's problems. Just us. Just
like that.
You know? Just like that. Bam. When this comes out, those problems will have, you know, immediately there'll be an evaporation. There'll be an evaporation party. No one's even heard of that before. But
we're going to be on Joe Rogan podcast.
Oh, absolutely. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah. With the Black Keys and Louis Theroux.
With the Black Keys.
And we'll make it like a 7-hour episode.
Yeah.
And then even the residual problems of the planet will be solved as well, you know?
Yeah. Easy peas.
Easy peas.
Climate change, gone. It'll be 70 degrees all year round.
Absolutely.
That's it.
Yeah. More like climate constancy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Straight up.
Climate consistency.
Yeah. Cool, man.
The only races I want to see are the 100-yard dash.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Cool, man. Thank you so much for hanging out, dude. And yeah.
Absolutely, man. Thank you for having me.
Certainly, man. We'll speak soon, dude.
All right, brother.
Cheers, man. Shaka, motherfucker. And that's it for episode 1 of the Guttersnipe Podcast. I really, hope you dug it. And if you've got things to say about the things we spoke about, do hit us up in the comments. And yeah, do like, subscribe, hit us up on Patreon, drop a donation through PayPal, or just share the stuff on your social media. Share the video, share the links, help us out. It means the world. Yeah. Cheers. Have a good one.